What's up everybody and welcome to the cave. I'm GrizzlyKaun and we finally got the long-awaited episode 10 or season 2 finale of House of the Dragon. And it only took 746 days since the season 2 premiere. Was it worth the 2-year wait? And how did it stack up to last week's episode? Let's get into it. Well, I must say I like this episode a lot better than last week's. The show has strayed very far from the source material at this point, and there's some stupid decisions being made by both characters and writers, and they killed off one of the only competent characters, which just so happened to be one of my favorites of the series.
This is my boy! My boy!
Thanks for that, yet again, but it was better than last week. And being as this is a finale, we have a lot to get into, so let's go. We start off with Rhaenyra discovering that Jace was killed in the Battle of the Gullet. And man, credit where credit is due. There's some damn good acting in this scene. My wife was bawling watching this. You felt every bit of a grieving mother from Emma Darcy's performance. Now if only the writing was as tight as some of the performances in this show. For instance, the next scene where Alan is looking for Corlys, who fell off the boat he was fighting on in the Gullet, where they were in the shallows, and jumping a little ahead here, but to hell with it, let's just cover Corlys and get him out of the way. Somehow he drifted all the way to shore when they find him, despite wearing a set of armor. Kinda crazy that he didn't just resurface in the first place while the fight was going on. I mean, it's not like he was even struck by a fist or a weapon when he fell off the boat. He fell because the boat bumped into a rock, and he just fell overboard into the water. It just feels very plotty rather than for actual reasons, like they just needed some suspense to give you into the next episode. But it was very nice of him to give Alan his name. I feel like that scene would have hit much harder had they been at high tide, like walking through the destruction of everything. You see his throne room all in shambles, you see his treasure room that's been pillaged. You actually get a visual of just everything that he's lost in this world, rather than just seeing this castle from super far away that just kind of looks like it has a big bonfire going. Rhaena, the idiot who scored a dragon, runs to Lady Jane Eyre in the Vale begging for asylum after what her and Sheepstealer did in the Gullet, and Lady Jane straight up says,
"Oh, hell no."
You were supposed to be on a ship to Pentos.
How dare you? Asylum.
You run from my charge and you bring disaster to my doorstep.
I can't stand Rhaena and her stupid ass decisions, so I was just loving this scene. But Rhaena does offer Jane Eyre protection in the form of Sheepstealer as long as she can turn a blind eye to their destructive selves as they go off to live in the Vale and survive. So reluctantly, Lady Jane agrees, saying,
The Vale is vast. I cannot stop a dragon from abiding where it pleases.
But with the stipulation of,
I do not wish to see you again.
We then come to Daemon celebrating with the Rivermen and the Northmen, singing about the fish feed, the battle that they spent most of season 2 preparing for and that we caught the aftermath of last week. Now it was cool to see them celebrating it and everything, but I feel like it would have been a little cooler to maybe, I don't know, have actually seen the battle. Imagine a world where in last week's episode, instead of watching Aemon make out with his mom, Rhaenyra throwing temper tantrums about shit, and shots of the Gullet that were mainly the sea snake versus the bitch fist, we got an entire episode of both the fish feed and the Battle of the Gullet in shots where we get to see like the entire naval fight. Can you imagine what a difference in reception your first week would have had?
Yours is cool too, I guess.
Daemon gets a visit from Sir Simon Strong, who brings him some wine and a message from Rhaenyra that Jace has been killed. Daemon has been summoned to King's Landing and the rest of his forces will meet him there, as well as a couple of them to go garrison at Harrenhal. But before he leaves, Alice Rivers makes a request that she should be rewarded with Harrenhal for providing Rhaenyra with 40,000 rivermen. But Daemon responds,
The crown is not in the habit of giving out castles to midwives.
So she says,
Jog on.
Larys and Aegon are still on their way to Dragonstone, and Larys brings some logic to the situation they're in and why Aegon was a dumbass last episode, but the tour stopped yet again, this time because of a skirmish between some Triarchy forces and the Rhaenyra loyalists who captured them. The two end up escaping into the woods during the fight in the direction of Rook's Rest so they can go meet up with a garrison of Cole's men. But this fight just felt tonally weird. It started off normal enough in comparison to the rest of the episode, but once the fighting started, it just became like comedy shtick, almost like some Monty Python or something. Just felt very out of place by the time the scene was over. And then Daemon leaves on Vhagar to Harrenhal, allowing Alicent's plan to begin. She goes straight away to the Gold Cloak barracks, full of swinging dicks, and in front of the eyes of the entire city to ask Commander Largent to fight for Rhaenyra when she arrives to King's Landing. Daemon returns to Dragonstone and is immediately greeted by the faces of Ulf and Hugh,
What are you doing here?
who were supposed to be waiting at Harrenhal for the arrival of Vhagar.
We thought there might be some misunderstanding.
I was unaware Her Grace the Queen had required of you in this moment or any other your thoughts.
And Daemon is pissed in this moment, but just kind of brushes it off after the scene is over. And as if these two weren't enough of a reason to be pissed, he goes upstairs, and who should he find but the White Worm herself, Mysaria. But for some reason, instead of killing her where she stands because he knows exactly how treacherous and deceitful she is, and sees that she's getting close to the soon-to-be queen, he just sits down for a chat instead. Bit of a strange reaction. He even goes on to mention that, like, he left her as a prisoner and now he comes back and she's the consort to the queen. Like, what are we doing here? Daemon moves then upstairs to a grieving Rhaenyra to be filled in on what happened at the Gullet and to inform her that Vhagar has left King's Landing. The time to claim the throne has arrived. And then we get that scene. Lord Jasper, the Master of Laws, has come to pay Alicent a visit to blackmail her that he knows about her steamy sessions with Sir Criston Cole and to find out why she paid a visit to the Gold Cloak barracks. She strikes him, and this causes Jasper to all of a sudden decide to rape her? What any of this has to do with causing him to do that to her, I don't know. But it's also no surprise when you see who the writer of this episode is, Sarah Hess, who is also a producer on the super lesbian prison show Orange is the New Black.
That makes sense.
But Lord Jasper is stopped by Grandmaster Orwyle and a couple of gold cloaks and is hauled off to the dungeons. Rhaenyra, Daemon, Ulf, and Hugh fly their dragons to King's Landing to take the Iron Throne. Oh, and before they leave, Mysaria, in the most
highly suspect
way, right in front of Daemon, mind you, tells Rhaenyra,
I hope you will send for me. Remember which one of us has been faithful.
Might as well have said, hey, so I'm really looking to betray you in some way, and now that you're about to get what you want, I'd really like to take that away from you, so just let me know how I can make that happen, just, you know, ASAP. Alicent comes to fetch Helaena and let her know what the plan is as far as telling off the defenses, then escaping from King's Landing. Helaena is basically like,
I think I might like to keep chickens.
They stop the armaments on the walls to allow the approaching dragons safe passage. Aemond and Vhagar arrive at Harrenhal and burn the forces outside, who come off as basically no threat to either of them. Aemond then enters and starts killing Sir Strong, who gives no fight and says,
the army has decamped. There's nothing to stop you.
And his sons. But while Aemond has his back turned, one of his sons gets a stab right to Aemond's right kidney. Aemond turns and kills the boy and starts to slowly approach Alice, but falls to the ground of blood loss and begs for her to help him. We cut to the dragons arriving at King's Landing and Alicent's escape with Helaena. Rhaenyra and Daemon enter the castle and make their way for the throne room, meeting basically no resistance at all, only needing to face 7 soldiers before reaching the throne room. However, the two are then met by Sir Soren and a band of gold cloaks. Oh, but look out, Rhaenyra draws her sword to fight, but luckily the soldiers just laugh at her. And this is exactly how it should have played out. She's not a warrior woman with a sword. Yes, she has a mighty dragon that she can fuck shit up with, but she is not a soldier. If they had her going full-on warrior queen taking out guards, I was gonna lose my shit. But then they're surrounded at the door as well. However, this larger force is led by Commander Largent, who Alicent met with earlier and was given his gold cloak by Daemon himself 20 years prior. Grandmaster Orwyle pledges himself to Rhaenyra after telling Daemon he has no idea where Aegon went or Alicent and Helaena. Daemon says, if usurpers fled, then we must take heads, as you well know. Loath as I am to strike down a maester. But Orwyle says he can offer another that might offer more satisfaction. So down in the dungeons, they start releasing prisoners that swore fealty to the Blacks, and a dungeon master says to Daemon that he has a present for him from Lord Larys Strong, should Daemon ever return to the castle. Daemon carries a torch to the cell, and once he sees who it is, begins to laugh. Back in the throne room, Rhaenyra greets the imprisoned loyalist and the Master of Laws who plotted with the usurper. However, Daemon brings a prisoner to the new queen that, if left alive, might cause some complications. Yes, Sir Otto Hightower, the only one remaining who can sit the throne in Aegon's absence, and if left alive, causes her title to become illegitimate.
Just get it over with, will you?
And Holy shit, I just got the biggest laugh out of Otto's performance here. As if his life wasn't just shit enough at the moment, he now has to be executed by a woman who doesn't much wield swords and doesn't use them to kill like ever, so definitely doesn't know how to kill cleanly.
Let Damon do it. Spare me at least from being hacked at.
But she knows she has to be the one to do it, especially in front of all these people, or she'll seem weak. What really did me in though was this look he's giving when she takes the sword from Damon. Just a pure moment of, oh fuck me.
In this moment, you will become queen.
And so she does exactly what Otto feared would happen, and I just fucking lost it. Every bit of his fear was warranted as she swung that sword right into his upper back before giving him a clean kill in classic Ned Stark fashion. And with everyone finally out of the way, Rhaenyra takes some bloody steps to the Iron Throne and claims it for her very own. Because, you know, like, it's a bloody road to the throne. If you were going for subtle messaging, I don't think it exactly worked. But before the episode ends, who is dragged into the throne room but Alicent and Helena, who stands before her father's headless body. And there you have your season 2 finale. And before we start this whole, actually that was episode 2 of season 3.
Now, let's stop talking nonsense, shall we?
Sit down and just really ask yourself, did that feel like an episode 2? Or does it feel like the conclusion to everything that happened in season 2? And now that that's over, we finally start season 3 next week, which is 6 episodes. Nice job, a common Warner Brothers L. So overall, I really did like this one a lot more than last week. Some strange choices were made, characters didn't treat others the way they should have, some weird tonal choices, some strange combat choices, especially the 2 castles that were stormed this episode by enemy forces but were met with like no resistance. Almost reminded me of Sir Lancelot storming Swamp Castle in Monty Python and the Holy Grail with how he just runs through and kills everyone without being stopped. I really hated to see Otto die just like Ned, both some of my favorite characters in their respective series. Maybe because they're the most competent, but also this show has just moved so far away from the books, just like Game of Thrones did, so at this point, I'm just waiting to see what happens next. At least I got a damn good laugh out of it, whether that was their intention or not. And so we finally move on to season 3 content next week. Like I said, we're looking at a mere 6 episodes, and apparently, I don't know if this is still the plan, but Sarah Hess is also writing another episode for this season that will apparently be conceptual and experimental. Some speculated ideas even include that the episode will be done from the point of view of one of the dragons. If we think back a few weeks, The Boys did something similar, with the episode taking place from multiple points of view, including Butcher's dog Terror. Definitely not a favorite episode of mine, so I'm really hoping it's not like that. It really sucks that they're doing this in their 6 episode season. That doesn't give you a lot of room to just fuck around, right? Like, you need to stick to your plan. So I guess we'll see what they're cooking up. I won't hold my breath for greatness, but I would love to be proven wrong. I guess we'll just have to take it a week at a time. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss future content. Coming up this week in the movies, it's Independence Day, so that means Young Washington. And then, of course, we will continue our House of the Dragon coverage. So until next time, I'm GrizzlyKaun, and remember, the cave is always open.